What's up, guys? Today we're going to break down the debut of Tyler Shough. Now, that's a little bit of a misnomer because he did play almost half the game last week, so it's not the first time he's ever played in the NFL, but it is his first start, and the Saints did him no favors, baptizing him by fire against the LA Rams, who are arguably a top 3 team in the league and have one of, if not the best pass rush units in the NFL. Still, I think that Shough acquitted himself quite well. Now, the game was out of hand very quickly, as you might imagine. The score indicated as much, but that wasn't because Shough wasn't doing enough to keep them in it. On the contrary, it was more because the Saints weren't really letting Shough play. Kellen Moore was really conservative in his play calling, running the ball on first and second down. The Saints went 3 and out without ever giving Shough a chance to miss a pass, right? Even when they were calling pass plays, they were short and they weren't going for it on fourth down. It was just really conservative and frankly cowardly, making me question a lot about Kellen Moore. There were also some big mistakes, like particularly by Rashid Shaheed. He had 2 balls where he just stopped running his route, and one of them almost led to an interception, and one of them basically took a touchdown off the board on an otherwise perfect throw. Rashid Shaheed also did a really bad job during a scramble drill on fourth down late in the game when, yeah, the game was all but decided already, but he cost Tyler Shough an interception on his stat line because he did the wrong thing, and I'll explain when we get there. Overall, I thought Shough was really accurate. He did a pretty good job of extending plays and avoiding sacks, although Tali Fuaga just got absolutely destroyed at the right tackle, and there were a lot of sacks that Shough couldn't do anything about, even if he were Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or what have you. I don't care who you are. If you're getting pressure in your face before you finish your drop back, you're probably getting sacked. Unless, of course, you're like Big Ben and you can just truck a defender. But overall, I thought Tyler Shough absolutely lived up to his billing as a franchise quarterback. That billing, of course, being exclusive to this channel. Nobody else really agreed with me, but they will soon enough. I think there's plenty of reason for hope for the Saints. I don't think they're screwed by any means, and I think they'll probably get about 3 or 4 more wins this year, which may be just enough to secure Tyler Shough's position next year, which is when I think he really might get a fair chance to prove exactly what he is. But that's enough talking about it. Let's get right to the film. First play, going to get a little motion against cover 3 and just throw the quick slant. The ball was a little bit behind, but whatever. It's catchable. It's a routine throw. And by the way, Tyler Shough's first pass of the game. 3rd down and about 8. Not a good way to set your rookie quarterback up for success, right? 3rd and 8 and you're throwing quick slants against cover 3. That's just no room to succeed. Sure, the ball was about a yard or 2 short, and again, you're punting from your own 40-yard line as a 2-touchdown underdog on 4th and 1. Why? Isn't this why you pay Taysom Hill? Kellen Moore had a bit of a disaster class in this game, and I just wanted to highlight that, show you kind of what Shough is working with. Here he's got a quarterback playing his X-receiver for him, and this ball gets tipped at the line. What's Shough looking at? Well, he's looking at some pretty quick pressure and a right tackle who gets the brakes beat off of him. There's no quarterback alive who's going to get that ball through the leaping defensive end. And the target was open. It was his first read. Everything worked out properly. Just couldn't get it blocked up. So it's a bad throw, but it's not indicative of any kind of like mental defect. I guess it was a looping defensive tackle, but regardless, the edge pressure comes from the edge, right? A lot of the time people like to blame batted balls on height. No amount of height, no arm trajectory is going to get that ball around the 10 feet of defensive linemen. That's just a few yards in front of his face. Next pass, we got a little bit of play action and a throwback screen. Routine, nothing to it. Here, Shough brings his eyes down a little quickly. Right, here's the top of his drop. And what can you do here? I guess you can throw this ball to Kamara, but it's 3rd down, so you want something a little deeper, right? You got to get to that 45-yard line. And again, you see Shough's head come down just a little early, right? Right here, where he's like bracing for pressure that's not really there. If he picks his head up, he has a chance, a small chance, but a chance nonetheless of finding an open receiver. Now, in reality, nobody's open. Right, you may look at Shaheed at the bottom of your screen here, but any ball thrown to him would have to go through a defensive back, so that's a pick 6. No bueno. Can't do it. Juwan Johnson's not open, and again, the same defensive back is squatting on his slant or in, whatever the case may be. Your only real option is the top of the screen, this button hook. And again, it's not open yet either. Shough is already being hit by the time that this receiver is starting to come out of his break. There's a no-fault sack. There's really nothing he can do other than check the ball down to a running back who guarantees a punt. Better to take your chances, seeing if you can break one tackle, right? And he kind of almost does. Right? He's thinking, if I could just shrug this guy off, and he almost does if he doesn't step on his own feet. If I could shrug him off, I have a chance. But he doesn't have a chance. He's fucked. Bad protection. Nobody gets open. As you can see, yeah, the eyes come down a little early, and he probably steps up when he should loop out, but it would have taken a miracle play to get a first down there. Here, from his own end zone, again, the quick slant, routine throw, well placed. Through pressure, it's a bad throw. It looks a little worse on the wide copy. On the tight copy, you can see that it wasn't pickable whatsoever. But again, Shough is being hit while he throws. Right tackle 75 just got his ass whooped all day. I think that's Fuaga. Fuaga should have been a guard coming out of college, and that is proving true in the NFL. Again, Shaheed kind of breaks his route off a little bit, right? Like, and you'll see later in the game, much more consequential. But he just kind of stops running there, starts jogging, and that leads to the ball nearly being picked, but it wasn't a pickable ball at all. If anything, it was bad. It was arguably routine, but Shaheed needs to stop quitting on routes. It's something he does a lot. Now here is another instance of the Saints not letting Shough throw the ball until third down. In fact, they didn't even let him on the field. They opened up this drive with Taysom Hill running the ball. It worked one time. It failed the other time, just as Taysom Hill runs always do. It's either a 30-yard gain or a loss of 2 every friggin' time, and they just keep doing it. Give up. He's in his 30s. Anyway, on third and long, Shough throws a slant. It's well placed, and the receiver, kind of drags the defender to a first down. Good on him. It's Brandon friggin' Cooks, man. In his 30s, dragging dudes. Yeah, and who's to say that Tyler Shough can't also run for a minimal gain into a pile, right? Neutral run, nothing to it, but that's what you pay Taysom Hill for, so you can stop playing Taysom Hill. Here, little play action, takes his back to the ball, flings it out there. Kamara's looking the wrong way. Kamara's supposed to break that outside into the flat. He doesn't. I don't know why. It's mind-numbing to me. I don't know what Kamara thinks he's doing. Somebody's going to have to explain, but either way, I still don't think it's catchable. So we grade that as a bad throw. All right, here's where Shough starts to deal a little bit, right? Starts rolling out on third down, and he makes a nice throw to Kamara, but Kamara drops it. As you can see here, it's almost immediate pressure right through the gut of the defense. I believe that's a mugged backer. Yeah, that's a linebacker blitz, or maybe even is that Quentin Lake? Anyway, Shough avoids pressure, great pocket manipulation, and throws a nice pass to a Kamara who's wide open, and Kamara just drops it. Inexplicable. Get that shit out of here. Next drive, nice curl, solid throw. By the way, that prior throw was solid by Shough as well. And then this one is the controversial one. Now, first glance, this ball lands at the 10. Which is about 2 to 3 yards ahead of Shaheed. Now, to the untrained eye, or if you're looking at the broadcast angle, you might think bad ball. And originally, just to be kind of a hard ass, because I'm higher on Tyler Shough than most people, and I'm aware of that. When that's the case, I'm extra harsh in my grading. So I originally graded this as bad. However, I put it to a poll, and overwhelmingly, the people agree with my instinct. This is a perfect throw. Shaheed fucks it up. Let me explain why, or rather how. You see here, Shaheed slows completely at the 30-yard line. Watch as he gets to the 30. He completely stops looking for the ball. He can't track it. And then right around the 15-yard line, he starts jogging again. If either of those times he had just continued running full speed, this ball might even be underthrown, right? Like if at the 30, Shaheed just jogs instead of completely stopping like he does. And if at the 15 he keeps sprinting instead of pulling up like he does, he probably gets under that and it's probably a touchdown. The only thing preventing me from calling this an elite throw is that it might have even been underthrown. At the very least, it's a great, accurate deep ball. And as you can see from the trajectory, it gets up and down. Shaheed should be able to utilize his speed to throttle, properly track this ball, and make a catch. People online often say, and I often agree, deep ball completion percentage is a wide receiver stat. And we saw that with Marcus Mariota a lot in Atlanta before Drake London came into his own. Kyle Pitts can't track the deep ball, so even accurate balls don't get caught deep because he has a hard time throttling and tracking the ball over his shoulder. That's what happened there with Shaheed, and it's why that really, really great throw, which we're going to call elite, wasn't caught for a touchdown, which frankly would have made this a game, right? Shough is battling, and here, more pressure. Fuaga is standing with his back to the quarterback and the line of scrimmage. That should never happen. Getting beat like a drum, I believe, by Byron Young again. And here's Shough avoiding pressure, extending the play, and throwing a seed on the run. Let's see the tight copy. Once again, yes, it was Byron Young. And Fuaga is completely turned around. He could not be beaten any more soundly. Shough steps up and through perfectly and sacrifices, or at least opens himself up to sacrificing his body to make a throw. He knew that Byron Young was closing in on him from behind. He didn't know if he was going to get the ball out in time, but he certainly got the ball out properly. Great throw. Good job by Olave to uncover in space, but that's just excellent shit. By the way, remember when I said Byron Young kept on beating Fuaga like a drum? Time to sit Fuaga's ass on the bench. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know if he just can't play tackle, but whatever it is, he does not belong on an NFL football field. It's a no-fault sack. Quite literally nothing Tyler Shough could ever do in a million years. There's the top of his drop. He has just stopped backpedaling. I guess he could have anticipated that his right tackle wouldn't exist in a corporeal form and thrown the check down before he even finished his drop, but that would be an insane thing to do. So that's a no-fault sack. Here, Shough has a better pocket, right? He's at the top of his drop, and Fuaga's getting beaten, but it's a shorter drop back, a quicker developing play, so Shough has enough time. He slides to his left a little bit, buying himself just a millisecond. And that's really good, subtle pocket movement, the kind of stuff that made Tom Brady famous. And he throws a strike. Good job by Juwan Johnson to, score the touchdown after the catch, too. I love that little slide to the left. I love that crisscross. 2 hops this time. But no, in all seriousness, really good throw, really good play. Here, clean pocket. Routine throw a little too high. Don't love it. Next play. Fumble. Shough never gets to get anything going. That's a constant theme in this particular game. The Saints were adamant that they wanted to run the ball. That's dumb. You're playing against a team much better than you. You need explosives. You need risk. Because the odds are not in your favor. But yeah, they just kept running the ball. They kept on turning the ball over. And they kept on taking the ball out of Shough's hands until crunch time, never letting him really develop a rhythm. That being said, he was stone cold. I mean, look at this. A 20-yard corner route, throwing it on the back shoulder into the cover 2 void. Brilliant shit. A corner route, 20 yards deep. Brilliant shit. Those are both great throws. Really, really nice stuff. A deep out. Good throw. Like, Shough is dealing. And yes, this is a bit of a blowout. The game is more over than not, but Shough is playing great ball. Now here, one of the knocks that people had on Shough pre-draft was, he just doesn't like to be hit. He avoids hits. He won't extend plays. Well, there's a free rusher, and rather than throwing the ball away or checking it down, which he could have, he understands the context of the game and the fact that he needs to make big shit happen. Breaks a tackle, rolls left, and a really difficult throw, really hard to complete, but he spots the open receiver, which is good identification, and he makes a throw that at least shows you he has the arm talent to throw while rolling left full speed. It was a bad throw, but there's a lot to be encouraged about here. See it, the different play. It's a routine throw, dropped. Juwan Johnson's great at this, dropping the football. He's almost as good at it as he is at whiffing on blocks. Seriously, Saints fans told me that this guy was awful. Until the last few weeks, I didn't realize how bad it really was. And then here, this will be the last play we grade. At this point, the game is over. Clean pocket. They max protected. They have a fucking quarterback running the X receiver route again. Shough is late to identify, partially because he's being pressured, right? Here's the top of his drop. What's open? Nothing. And you can't really anticipate anything being open, except for maybe Taysom Hill on that in route at the 20. But Shough wants bigger game than that, and he thinks that he has it, and he does. If he, right here, if 70, I believe that's the left guard, if he holds up for just a tenth of a millisecond longer, Shough can throw this ball to 87 Foster Moreau, which is what he was trying to do in the first place, right here. Right? You lead him into this void. You have the exact seam that you wanted, and I'll be very careful not to draw a line right there because that would be a penis. And we don't want to be lewd on the pod or the video or whatever the hell I'm doing. Anyway, Tyler Shough gets the seam throw. It's all right there, and it's beautiful in its glory. And then there's a defensive tackle in his face, so he can't throw it. So he, on fourth down, extends the play. And he extends the play, and as he's about to be hit again, this time by Jared Verse, I believe, or maybe that's Kobe Turner. Doesn't matter. It's going to hurt. Shough eats a hit to make a play. This is the guy who's afraid of pressure, right? But he throws late to Rashid Shaheed, and Rashid Shaheed just isn't... he isn't boxing out. He's not making a possession move, right? Right here, Shaheed should be moving back towards the ball because he sees his quarterback's under pressure. Instead, he's drifting away from it upfield. Now, that's something brilliant to do if, like, your quarterback has tons of time in the pocket, but he doesn't, right? You should be moving back towards the sticks because you'll always win the race to the ball if you're inside the defender. Instead, he goes outside instead of charging on the ball, and it leads to a pick. Now, is Shough late? Yes. Was he accurate? Actually, yes. But Shaheed fucked up again, and it is why, despite his game-breaking speed and his, shockingly... deceptively good route running ability, he's just not a reliable wide receiver 1 or even necessarily a great wide receiver 2. He just doesn't understand the nuances of the game. Earlier, costing his team a deep completion, if not a touchdown, because he stopped running. And here, costing his team an interception that seals the game on fourth down because he didn't charge back to the ball properly. Now, it's still a bad throw from Shough. It's still a bad decision from Shough. But calling it interceptable is a little bit harsh. So, combined with his quasi-debut last week against the Bucs, Tyler Shough has shown me a lot to get excited about. He got a B in that second half, mostly garbage time against the Bucs, and he got a B+ in this game against the Rams. Now, that being said, both games were blowouts, both games were largely composed of garbage time, and therefore, I think it's totally fair to question whether or not that'll translate to more competitive games. That being said, the accuracy's there, the arm talent is there, the ability to manipulate a pocket is clearly there, right? He's taken 4 sacks that I've graded, and none of them were his fault. I'm encouraged about Tyler Shough. I really think that he could be something not special, but really good. I don't think being a top 10 quarterback in this league is even remotely out of the realm of possibility, and I think that he's proven so far he's clearly the best quarterback from his draft class to this point. Now, Jackson Dart and Cam Ward, both of whom are about 2 years younger, might eventually avail themselves and prove to be better, although I doubt it. I don't think that this guy is going to carry a terrible Saints team to a bunch of wins against playoff contenders. He's not Drake May, no one. But I think Tyler Shough's a really good quarterback, and the Saints should be really excited. In this game, he had the one elite throw to Rashid Shaheed that Shaheed just stopped running. He had those 2 great throws on corner routes in the third quarter, and he had 6 solid throws. He extended plays 9 times using his feet really well to manipulate the pocket, and he ate and absorbed hits to make plays with his arm. I was pretty impressed, even though I wasn't totally blown away by his rushing ability. Sure, he threw that pickable ball, but it was mostly A, because it was fourth down, and B, because Shaheed did the wrong thing. So I don't charge it against it. I think a B+ is a really fair grade for his performance, and frankly, I think that somebody a little bit more enthusiastic could give him an A-. I'm going to be looking to find reasons to bet on the Saints against the spread for the rest of the season, just because I think the quarterback is being severely undervalued. I heard a lot of people saying things like Tyler Shough is boring, at least when Spencer Rattler plays, big things happen. And frankly, cough cough PFT commenter, watch the fucking game. It's pretty clear that Tyler Shough's an exciting quarterback with a big arm and plus mobility. If you're not in on this guy, or at least encouraged by his first couple performances against really tough opponents, you might be thinking with something other than your head. Until next time, I gotta break down the other young quarterback who made a, not a debut, but something close to it. I'll be making a JJ McCarthy video, basically up until kickoff of Monday Night Football. In the meantime, keep grinding film. Asta.